Hello again, traders, and welcome out to another market recap. This is Sonkins from Maverick Currencies, and let's begin our market coverage for Monday, April the 3rd. Let's see how the market moved today and take a look at the next 24 hours ahead. So starting with the market analysis today, we had a nice bullish day, and that again started off with on a negative note. Last night, if you look at the crude oil, had a biggest gain that we've seen here, 6.41%, and that came off from a surprise output cut from the OPEC. So as you can see, oil had a nice jump, and we actually saw the markets were actually moving lower overnight. But then we saw a recovery, and market seems to be continuing on with that risk on sentiment. Crypto markets holding in as well, and we have seen nice little rally in gold. I must say, every little pullback in gold is getting bought out, which is again a very bullish sign. So outside of that, let's take a look at the charts, and we are now breaking this range here. So we talk about range bound trading, and if we start to see a breakout, then is this a point where we go from a range bound to a directional? So what we need to see is that we need to see a breakout here, and then we see a retest, and that continues on. That would really confirms a trend to the upside. But as you look at this level here, this is definitely more bullish than bearish. So I think the market sentiment is looking much better here as we start off the second quarter. Now looking at the world stock index, we're seeing the exact same thing breaking out. So again, market mood is much better here. Now in the crypto markets, I would still be hesitant to buy here because I'm not seeing a rally across the board. We are seeing Bitcoin outperforms, we have seen Ethereum follow tracks, but we haven't really seen that outside of that. So again, overall, those are the two areas to be want to be focusing on, but outside of that, not really excited for other cryptocurrency. So as we take a look at the relative strength and weakness today, the dollar was the underperformer while the Aussie outperformed. So that's really where the action is. Let's take a look at daily performance and see where the percentage move, where the biggest move was. Now the Bitcoin, again, this is where we see a bit of a mix of this price action here between Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash. 1.82%, a little bit pullback here, while the Bitcoin Cash did rally up a little bit. Overall, like I said, if you are trading cryptocurrency, keep an eye on Bitcoin and keep an eye on Ethereum. I'm not really paying attention to Litecoin or any other cryptocurrency outside of that. Now, let's talk about currency market. And we had a nice jump today in the Aussie. So this is where there was no sign for Aussie to be as strong as it showed today. We started off the quarter on a much stronger note, and we also have the RBA rate statement that's due tonight. So, is this a rally to look for further gains, or is this a rally to sell? We'll take a look at the charts, and we'll decide that over tonight when we get the RBA statement. But right now, we're getting a nice little bounce where Aussie has been a lot more under pressure. Outside of the Aussie, we've seen the Kiwi was slightly up. We saw CAD was almost flat. So it was not really a big rally across the board. So the biggest movement was in crosses like Aussie dollar, Aussie yen, and here we are, Swiss franc with some relative weakness as well. While euro was mostly flat. So notice that one of the themes that we're noticing here is that CAD, which was an outperformer last week, was flat today. A euro, which has been a better performer, was flat today. And same as the pound, was slightly up. So we're seeing, for the shorter term, some of the other currencies catching a little bit more bid. But remember, we need to pay attention to the trend score so we can see which rally we want to fade and which dip we want to buy. Swiss franc, I want to highlight that they had an inflation report overnight, and that was lower than expected. So I think this is where the expectation for Swiss bank to raise rates sort of cool off a little bit here. So pull back here. I still like Swiss franc a little bit on the short side. But dollar and the yen is really where the action is. So let's take a look at the market outlook here. And so far, sitting at a +2. Like I said, we are above the 20, the 50. At this point, I'm not seeing a reversal sign. So at this point, we can only say, well, markets wants to rally further here. Until we get a bit of a pause or we see a turn, it's better to stay on the right side of the market, which is onto the upside. So that's really what we are seeing here. But tonight, let's take a look at this schedule here. Tonight we have the RBA rate statement. So this is the event that we'll be covering live tonight. It's coming at about 12:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Tuesday for East Coast people, and everything else I think will be late night for everywhere else. So this is the one they're expecting. Looks like the The forecast is at a 3.6. So the expectation, again, right now the expectation is that they are not going to be raising rates. I'm actually surprised to see that because I thought that they're actually planning to raise rates. So again, the RBA would likely to come off dovish, and that's exactly what we've seen with a lot of central banks. They are more dovish on their future outlook versus bullish, which is the opposite of what we saw last year. Last year, every central bank was a lot more bullish in their outlook. So this is the one that we need to pay attention to tonight. And again, the RBNZ is tomorrow. So I do like this week where, again, RBNZ is expected to raise rates by 25 basis points, but the RBA is showing at 3.6. So we'll have to wait and see what happens tonight. The Aussie crosses will be in focus. So outside of that, we had the ISM numbers this morning, and that was a little weaker than expected. But one of the things to note is that we are seeing continued weakness in this ISM number. So we are seeing for a fifth consecutive decline in this number here. Would this carry on to tomorrow? I think it was not really a big surprise. This has been a story for the last few reports that has come out on the ISM. So let's get back into and take a look at some of the currency baskets and see where the velocity score is. Remember, we want to see what's moving. And today was a good testament to just focusing on what's moving. If the Aussie's moving, that's the right pairing to be in, despite what the trend score is. I mean, right now, Aussie is +2, but I'm a little bit more skeptical on further strength. If the Aussie continues to buy the dips, then that's where you know that the Aussie's turning. But today's move, is that enough to warrant a further move ahead? We'll have to kind of look at the charts and where we are. Outside of that, you can see that the dollar was really a big one, and dollar has been a difficult trade. I mean, it's been trading in this range. We saw a nice little move to the downside, so dollar cross is definitely looking a little bit better right now as it did last week. Last week, we tried to focus on other currencies. It seems like the dollar is back in play. On the other hand, yen stays weak, so I think at this point, the yen is not really catching a break. You know, dollar is going back and forth, but the yen is remaining weak. So we have to really pay attention to that correlation there. I do like CAD further on the upside, but again, getting a bit of pullback here. So probably we'll wait and see until the second half this week, and we'll get back into the CAD here. But I think in the next couple of days, Aussie and the Kiwi is really the currency that's likely to move. And also pay attention to the Swiss franc. The inflation number was not as strong. I think the Swiss bank will come off less aggressive as well. So that's something to pay attention to. So let's take a look at possible trades ahead, talk about the trades that we were looking at in the currency room, and take a look at how things kind of develop from here. First thing I want to point out is the dollar. I mean, the outlook for dollar, I've been paying attention to what the expectation for further rate hike is and what the expectations are going forward. And right now, you can see that we're sitting at a 50-50 chance of further rate hike. So it's really guiding us that if the Fed is going ultra dovish, because then we need to see a hold in the next meeting. But right now, it's a split outlook. So that's what we're really seeing in this data here. Now let's talk about other charts that I like here as we go into the next 24 hours. A dollar CAD, I was very surprised to see how this has made a little double top and is actually on a fifth or sixth consecutive decline here. So it's reaching at the 133 support area. This is trading in this wide range of 138 down to 134 to 133. But one of the things to focus on is that this 200-day moving average. This 200-day moving has acted as a nice support pretty much since last year. So at this point, it's getting into this critical zone here. If it does break lower, I will like it more further on the downside. But right now, this is the area to watch out for. A little bit of congestion here, but once we clear out, we'll have a better idea. Now let's talk about Aussie dollar, because Aussie dollar, like I said, has a really good move here. Again, in this congestion zone, and as you can see, this is trading in this range as well and is breaking out. This is still not out of the woods yet. There's a lot of congestion in the zone. If this gets above the 69 area, then I like it a little further to the upside. But right now, as the RB is ahead tonight, I'm very much in the middle here. I would like to see maybe a dip here and then see if the dip get bought out. I think then that'll be a good sign for Aussie to strengthen further. So let's keep an eye on some of the Aussie crosses tonight. Let's take a look at Aussie Kiwi as well. Again, take a look at how nice of a move that we have. But again, we have been in this little range for the last few days. So we have the resistance at about 107.97, 108. And on the bottom end, we have 106.80. So this is the level that we've been kind of going back and forth in. If this gets above this area, then I think I like it a little bit more on the further upside. But remember, this is where the resistance is. We are very close to that resistance area. We have turned a few times in the past. So keep an eye on Aussie Kiwi if you're trying to decide, should I be long the Aussie or should I be long the Kiwi? Take a look at this Aussie Kiwi pairing. Also, if we take a look at Aussie against the Swiss franc, again, I like Swiss franc on a further downside. I mean, take a look at this. We have been below this 28 moving average, and you can look at that. We actually broken out of this. So we broke down in March. We rallied. We fell again, but then we just made a higher low, and now we're just trying to break out higher. Remember, some of these Swiss franc crosses has been under pressure since last year, so there's definitely a room for this to improve, especially if we can get that consistency in some of the Swiss franc pairs. So keep an eye on this one. I like this on a further upside if this can get above this little zone here, especially above 62.50 area. I would like it more further to the upside here. But again, the question really is, what do you think Aussie's going to do? Let's take a look at Aussie currency basket. And as you can see, Aussie basket, we are pretty much back to where we were since the last meeting. I mean, we are at the highs over here. So again, this move was not something that we saw it coming because the price action has been very much onto the lower end instead of the upper end. So the question is, do I sell this rally or do I buy this rally? So I think this is where we are in this little zone here. If this can get above this 200 moving average, if we can get above this 76 area on this currency basket, I like it further to the upside. So the good side is that it's holding those gains, but again, if the dovish RBA comes out tonight and if the Aussie sells off on it, then maybe the bullish case will be off the scenario there. So those are the ones that I'm paying close attention to. Let's take a look at Aussie against the CAD. I mean, I talked about it. Look at that. This is a trade that I talked about in the currency room, but look at that big rally here. So the question is, do I sell this rally? I mean, right now we are still below these moving averages, so there's still a lot of congestion zone for this to really break out to the upside. So this is still in a downward trending move, making a bit of a bear rally. So if the Aussie weakens tonight, I do like it against the CAD. And the other pair that I like going forward as well is the Kiwi CAD. But again, these are not breaking yet, so I have no confirmation. But these are the ones that I have it on the watch list. Outside of that, let's take a look at Euro against the dollar. I've had a lot of questions about Euro dollar, but I mean, if you just take a look at the chart here, I mean, this just looks like a pullback, and now we are trying to clear this 110 level. So again, there's some resistance at this level. If we can get above this level, I like it more further to the upside. So there's definitely momentum there. We like Euro as a whole. I think Euro currency is doing much better. We have a nice resistance here. So just anything above this 109.50 to 110, I will be more interested in buying it more to the upside. So just keep an eye on this level, and once we get a breakout, I think we'll have a nice little follow through off of it. So there's definitely decent patterns out there. It's a matter of being in the right currency at the right time. And like I said, in the next, we will be following the schedule here as we have. Aussie will be the focus in the next 24 hours. Overnight, we'll be meeting live. So make sure if you are not already, but you register for that class. So we'll be going through this and taking a look at the opportunities and see if we can catch a good trade off the RBA rate statement. And then we'll continue on with the schedule tomorrow. But this is definitely a short but busy week with some of the key events coming out. So there's definitely opportunities around those events. But outside of that, trade less and focus on currency and play.